Facebook world. Happy Thursday. Welcome into our beIN Sports studios. It's International Day of the Girl. Woo! We are pumped up here at beIN Sports, and in honor of that, we are going to reflect on the U.S. women's national team thumping Trinidad and Tobago 7-0 last night.
Wow.
A touchdown of goals.
There you
Girl
go.
power, baby.
One of the greatest teams in U.S. sports history.
You said it yesterday, and they just proved it again. But on our agenda today, we knew it was coming, and it has arrived. MONACO have sacked their boss. Bye-bye, Leonardo Jardim. We weigh in on life after him. Then Kylian Mbappé is a World Cup winner, a League champion, and a cover boy. We'll tell you what cover he's on. And Messi is going to the circus, and we can all go too. We'll explain that headline on Sports Burst that starts now. So we warned you guys yesterday Leonardo Jardim was on the way out, and today he has officially been kicked out the door. MONACO have sacked Lenny Gardens, which means that now the race is on to sign a replacement, AKA we're just waiting for them to appoint Thierry Henry. Is he going to be the guy, Jeremy?
I don't know. I'm looking at the shoulder graphic there, though, and I like the Henry on with the long hair.
Shout out to our producer buddy, who is hilarious.
Good. Yeah, you know what? I mean, we did speak about this yesterday and about the opportunity that this is. Certainly with MONACO, where they are sitting winless in 10 in the relegation zone. Really, there's only one way for this club to go, and that's up. You think that the injection of Thierry Henry, certainly the new enthusiasm, you know, somebody new to come in, I think that that's going to give them a bump. They say, I used to have a guy that I used to work with who used to say, when you get a new manager, you get an 8-game bump. That's what you get. You get about an 8-game bump before things start to kind of level off. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Henry in and the team does have an upswing for a little bit until he gets settled in, and then we'll basically see what happens after that. And we
kind of went in depth on this conversation. This is a MONACO side that reached such a high with Jardim. It's kind of sad to see it go to the point that it's been, but is it just time for a new project for him and the club? You
know, the funny thing is the owners, like 5 months ago, were talking about him being the Sir Alex Ferguson of French football.
Of MONACO, yeah.
Yeah, and that's 5 months later, he's out of a job. So, I mean, that's how quickly things can shift when you just don't have the patience. And football nowadays is a business.
And that's exactly what I was going to touch on. Maybe there's just a shift in the game itself. We kind of touched yesterday also on Sir Alex and how there's no real manager that has proven to show his players that no player is bigger than the club. And maybe this is just changing times.
Yeah.
Leonardo Jardim is the perfect example of a manager who can do brilliant things with a club and then the next season just be shown the door because you're just not producing what they want you to produce. You
know what the thing is, though, with what he did with that MONACO team, he's not going to be out of work for long.
No.
It's not like this is a guy who's never going to be hired again. Because
absolutely not.
I don't necessarily think that where they are now is a statement of where he is as a manager. I think that this has as much to do with the fact that the club is a selling club as much as it has to do with the fact that maybe he just couldn't get them going in the right direction. So Leonardo Jardim is not going to be out of work for very long.
Now, let's hit the comments here. Leonga Martin Monono saying they need to sack Lopetegui also. So touching on problems at Real Madrid. And Neri Lujan saying they need to sack Mourinho. So, but this kind of brings up a new thing.
Yesterday, old news.
Yes. But if those jobs do become available, where could you see Leonardo Jardim maybe popping up in the future?
I don't see him at somewhere like United. I surely
not that
don't.
Caliber of club.
He's not there yet. That's not to say that he couldn't be good for United with what he did with MONACO. I think he could be someone that could be good for, but he's just not the big name that United would want. So I think I see him at like a mid-level club that's maybe on the cusp of making the jump up. That's kind of where I would see him.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. He spent some time at Sporting Club Portugal, which is my club where Ronaldo started, great academy. And I would not be surprised, although it may be a little bit of a step back, but the club is in a little bit of a crisis. They do need a new shape-up. I would not be surprised if he went back and spent the rest of the season there, saw what he could do with that team, and then maybe hopped over in the summer where it's a better time to make a transition.
And the Portuguese league is a good league. It's a competitive league. I think that would not necessarily be a bad shout for him.
And he's had a lot of success there. Yeah. So, well, from one French team to the next, Kylian Mbappé is now a cover girl, or a cover guy, as we should say. He is on the cover of Time magazine, an honor only Messi, Neymar, and Balotelli have been given in the footy world. Time magazine declares Mbappé as the future of soccer and label him as the next generation of leaders, and we absolutely agree. 19 years old, what hasn't this kid done?
Well, he hasn't won the Champions League yet.
That's true.
So,
That's about the only thing he hasn't won, though.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, obviously, at 19 years old, what were you doing? What was I doing at 19 years old? I mean, I can't even remember, so that gives you a sense of what I was doing at 19 years old. Things that make you not remember. But, I mean, for him, I think that, you know, that's a lot of pressure to put on the kid. But it's not to say that he can't handle it. He is someone who recognizes the fact that he is a generational talent. He works hard, but he's also very humble. He also understands that the great players have an appreciation for the people around them. And I think that he's got that maturity in him that he can be on the cover of Time magazine, and it's not going to the pressure is not going to crush him.
He, in the interview that he did with Time, it's a really great interview. So really read it and take the time to read it. But he says that he has realized that he can no longer have normal moments. He can no longer walk down the street. He can no longer just hang out with friends. He can no longer go out with friends as it was before. And he's kind of fine with that. And he also highlights that, you know, the importance of being humble, and that there's 3 things that he likes to keep that are kind of like his motto, so to speak: respect, humility, and lucidity. That's the kind of what he lives by. And I just think that's really profound from someone who's 19, who can buy whatever he wants, who can probably get whatever girls he wants, whatever cars he wants, whatever life he wants, and he's still keeping to those basics and that you know, really solid foundation.
And I think that comes from how he was raised and what he dealt with, you know, when he was a youngster, and certainly coming up in football and seeing the game the way that it is now. I think that's, you know, that says a lot about the person that he is, that he has that kind of that outlook. So, but yeah, I mean, not being able to have those normal moments can weigh on people. But at the same time, if you've worked hard to get to a certain place, you understand that that's the price of fame. You know that. You can't walk down the streets in Miami anymore without people being recognized with you. I mean, you were with Manchester. You were with Manchester United. Who were you with? And you got recognized?
That happened one time. That was a fluke. I did an interview with Jesse Lingard, and
she got recognized.
Yeah, I
not
did.
Jesse Lingard.
That was only, I paid that person to pretend to recognize me.
That tells you.
But what I was going to say was, I think that you really see his personality in his relationship with Neymar, because those two get along so well. And I'm not going to lie. When Neymar and Mbappé were both signed to be on the same team, I said, I think there's going to be a little bit of a conflict here, because they're both the big stars and they get along so well that I think that's a reflection of both of their personalities.
Well, when you look at, I mean, in the media, I mean, they do their thing, right? They say, oh, well, you know, now he's in the shadow. Now Neymar's in the shadow of Mbappé. But you know what makes great players great is being surrounded by other great players. So, I mean, you get a youngster like that who is still developing. He is still developing. This is not the finished article yet.
No, which
He's
is
still developing.
amazing.
So when you're around players like Neymar, who are already established as world stars, and they're generational talents themselves, the guidance and sort of the things you can learn on a day-to-day basis will help him to grow.
Yeah, and just the fact that they don't clash. They're constantly goofing off on Instagram. You see their relationship on Insta stories, and it's really nice. Let's hit the comments. John a la Madrid saying, Mbappé has been 19 for 3 years. I kind of agree with that.
It seems like forever.
The thing is, because he started so young. He smashed onto the scene at Monaco at 17, so it's just kind of remarkable. But you're right. I kind of do agree he's been 19.
But just think, in 4 years... Right? In 4 years, he'll be just 23, and we'll be like, oh, yeah, Mbappé.
Yeah. Oh, that old guy. Meanwhile, he's only 23. Yeah. Depash Mahat saying Dembele versus Mbappé would be a nice rivalry in the future. Are you insinuating that maybe Mbappé is going to play for Real Madrid?
We'll
Depash?
See. We'll see.
I like that. I'm into that. I could definitely see that. That is a nice rivalry for the future, and obviously they're both French, so it'll be a nice little juicy...
There's a lot of really good young players that are making their way into the football world, and we're seeing the Messi, the Ronaldos. You know, those careers are on they're over the apex. Yeah. They're on the downhill slide. There needs to be players to replace them. Not that you can ever replace, you know, world-class historic talent like that, but certainly you need to fill the void.
Well, and speaking of Messi, what do the NFL, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and Messi have in common, Jeremy?
I don't know.
The circus. Cirque du Soleil, to be more specific.
That's right.
Messi and Cirque du Soleil have announced that a show is kicking off in 2019 about La Pulga's life, and as our Ray Hudson would say, it's sure to be magisterial. This is a really cool collab. I'm really into this.
It's interesting. It's very,
What does this I feel there's a little bit of hesitation. What are your thoughts?
I'm not 100% sure that this is something that is... I mean, I've seen the Beatles show. I didn't see Michael Jackson's show, but I've seen the Beatles show, and it it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Like
wow.
but I'm a Beatles fan. So I mean, for me, that was something that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. I think for someone who feels about Messi, maybe the way that I feel about the Beatles, then this is going to be something that's going to be fantastic. For me, I'm not necessarily sold. They're only doing 20 shows. It's going to be around the world. They're going to make a ton of money. Cirque du Soleil, by the way, Canadian. So they're going to do a great job. They're going to do a great job with it. And I think that, I mean, Messi's on board. We all saw him juggling the red nose the other day with the Cirque shirt on and wondering, what is this about? But I mean, I like the idea. I'm just not 100% sure that I'm going to want to pay the $150, $200 that it's going to cost to go and see it.
And I think that's exactly their point, and their goal is to tap into this market of maybe people who wouldn't go to a Cirque du Soleil show, soccer fans, who are now going to want to go, going to want to pay that money because they're going to want to see what this whole Messi story is all about. My question is, so the Beatles and Michael Jackson, they all have music that can be incorporated into the show. I'm just kind of questioning, how are they going to do this show? What is it? How is this all going to formulate?
Well, you'd think that they'll probably use, they'll tap into Messi, obviously, and ask him about maybe music that has maybe been cornerstones of his life. We all have songs that we remember that take us back to a certain time. Maybe with Messi, it'll be the same thing, and they'll incorporate some of that music, maybe recut it, digitize it, do all the funky things that they do with it. Give it that Cirque touch to make it something special. I like the idea of Cirque du Soleil branching out into sports because of the fact that they've done so many different things that really the one avenue they haven't explored is that sports aspect. They've done the NFL experience in New York City, which is very immersive and great. So, I'm all on board with them branching out into this way. I'm not sure how it's going to
And I didn't see that NFL one, but I would be interested to know how they even did that one. Did you see that one
I haven't seen the immersive experience, but from what I've read and what I've heard is that it is quite good.
Well, Ibrahim Ba saying Messi is the king of everything, so we're sure that it's going to be a good one. Now, if Cirque du Soleil was teaming up with you, what song would they choose to be your theme song?
Never Gonna Give You Up. Going back to my shirt yesterday? No, I don't
know.
No, I don't. You know what? I'm a big music fan, so for me, it's difficult to pick one song.
Okay, so this would be a long meeting between you and Cirque du Soleil to figure out.
It would take days.
Oh, okay.
It would take days, yes.
Well, tonight the U.S. men's national team is playing Colombia 1 year and a day after that Trinidad and Tobago loss, and the U.S. men's national team are going to play in a friendly tonight, but still no manager in sight, Jeremy.
Everybody's talking about this whole 1 year anniversary since they got eliminated from the World Cup, and and the fact that there's no manager and what state is U.S. soccer in. You know what? I'm okay with them taking their time.
Okay.
I really am. I mean, you got 2022 still a long way away. World Cup qualifying, you've got a lot of things, and you want to make the right decision. I get what U.S. soccer is doing. I think that part of it is they're waiting for the right person. I think that the jury's still out as to who they kind of want, but I'm not unhappy with the fact that it's taking a bit of time because of the fact it shows that they want to make the right decision. My only concern is how is the program stalling when you don't have somebody who's going to come in there, because you don't want someone that's going to come in and all of a sudden all these young kids that you've been working out for the last year are all of a sudden now out the window and you're going back to these experienced players.
Because these young kids are bringing a sense of excitement, light at the end of the tunnel, that kind of energy that we want back in the U.S. men's national team. If you don't find a manager that supports that youth coming up, you're going to have a problem. And then you're almost back to square one. So it's exactly that. Are we really headed in the right direction until we have someone leading which direction we're going in? Last week,
Grant Wall tweeted out something about, Mourinho, U.S. Soccer's plan to wait out Mourinho at United appears to be coming to fruition with Mourinho, is always on the chopping block at United. It was a joke. Those of us who know the inner workings of soccer know it's a joke. But a couple hours later, Grant had to retweet that, hey, I'm joking. This is a joke. People were actually taking it seriously. So that says maybe there's a bit of a communication issue with U.S. soccer. Maybe U.S. soccer needs to come out and say, okay, we know it's been a year, but here's what we're trying to do. Here's what we're looking at doing. I think that there's a communication gap there with the fans that U.S. soccer needs to state exactly what their intentions are and why it's taking so long. Don't be afraid to engage why it's taking so long.
And I think anxiety just kind of rises to everyone thinking back to that Trinidad and Tobago loss, realizing, oh my God, it's been a year. And what steps have we really made? And yes, there's been great strides, and a new USSF president, 2026 is coming home. You know, there is exciting things, but that new manager, I think, is a major key. And a little interesting Colombian twist, Oscar Pareja, FC Dallas manager, is linked to the U.S. men's national team job. So I'm sure he'll be watching in a little bit of a torn heart.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that possible appointment?
You know what? As long as they get the right person for them, I'm not, you know, I don't necessarily think that it needs to be one name over another name. I think it needs to be style versus substance. I think you need to get the person in there that sees the vision that you want for U.S. soccer and is willing to take that vision forward. I don't necessarily think that Jurgen Klinsmann was the worst manager, that, you know, as bad as everybody thinks he was. I think he did what he thought he should do, and the next manager is going to be tasked with the same thing.
Deepash Mahat saying, Jimmy Conrad for the U.S. men's national team coach. Let Conradinho be the coach. I'm all about this. Jimmy Conrad would bring so much fun and energy. Smile, Jeremy. It would be a fun appointment.
I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy.
Imagine those halftime talks. I feel like it'd be like a comedy sketch. I'm kind of really
Would he wear
it.
Sunglasses during the?
Absolutely, like without a doubt. And
Jimmy
like
would have
ties.
Jimmy would have the cool factor.
Yeah, no,
that's
definitely.
for sure. He
Maybe
would
like a little bit
that.
of like the Zidane factor.
You know what? I think depending on what happens versus Colombia and versus Peru, I think that either the pressure is gonna ramp up on U.S. soccer to get somebody in place, or
if they
things will stay the same. They haven't beaten Colombia in 3 tries, so I mean, you know, it's going to be that'll be an interesting game tonight. We don't know whether Dave Sarachan's going to bring out the kids or whether he's going to go with experience. So I get it that the losses right now, the friendly losses, are not necessarily as important because of the fact that you're bleeding in new talent. You're trying to change things over in such a way, but at the same time, you need to have somebody that's guiding that ship.
And another little joke here, Alex Vasilev saying Zlatan would be a great coach for the U.S. men's national team. He would just talk about himself. He would have a little bit of the Mourinho factor and just talking about himself and trying to deflect, I think, from the other guys. I don't think Zlatan would be...
With all due respect to U.S. soccer, Zidane is not...
Zlatan. He said Zlatan, but Zidane definitely wouldn't either.
Zlatan. I don't know.
No. We're going to say no to that one.
Zlatan would be putting on the boots and going out there himself. Like he would
like,
literally...
oh, you guys just can't do it. You can't put my vision out.
Oh, he would be kicking some...
So do you know what the kids do now on social media on Thursdays? They put out these inspirational quotes trying to inspire the minds of all of their followers. What are you like, yes, queen, or nah, bro, to inspirational quotes on Thursdays? Did you like my millennial talk, by the way? I think I nailed that.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes, that's exact. Yes, queen, or nah, bro, to inspirational quotes. You have to answer it like that.
I'm 46 years old. I speak English.
Yes, queen, or nah, bro?
Yes, queen?
Yes, queen! So you like an inspirational quote or two?
You know what? I do like inspirational quotes. I always usually have a few at the ready because I work with a lot of kids. So I have the inspirational quotes at the ready.
Give it to us. Inspire our viewers.
The extra mile is a distance the mediocre never travel.
Love that.
That's one of my favorites. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. That's Vince Lombardi, the great Vince Lombardi.
Okay.
There's no losing in life. You either win or you learn. I like that one.
That's a good one.
It doesn't matter how slow you go. It matters that you never stop.
Oh, so like the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
Okay, love that.
So yeah, I always have something.
That's great. Are you going to post one later, and we can all give you a little retweet on the Twitter? The Twitter, because he says it like that. The Twitter.
The Twitter, yeah.
The Twitter.
Up on the tweeter, yeah. I don't speak the tweeter.
Well, after going on the tweeter, you'll be hosting the Extra tonight.
Yes.
Do you know what's on your agenda?
No idea.
We'll definitely get that.
It's after we're done here. I'm going to go upstairs and find out what they want me to talk about.
Well, you guys won't want to miss that one. It's going to be a fabulous show, no doubt. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. That's all we have time for on Sports Burst today. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.